Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog. I often promise at the beginning of a vlog that it's going to be a short one. I've always broken my promise, but I'm going to really try this time because it's been a very busy day. Usually I record these videos in the afternoon. I take a half hour, 45 minutes out of work, and then I edit them in the evening. But today I was so busy during the day I didn't get a chance, so I'm recording this in the evening and I'm going to edit it in the evening. So one reason not to make it too long is because the longer it is, the longer it takes me to edit, because I make so many mistakes. If you notice the numerous jump cuts, and the reason for that is because I tend to wing it. I don't have time the way these full-time vloggers do to make a polished video. I hope everybody's bearing with me on that, but I pretty much have to just wing it, which is what I'm doing today. So today I'm going to talk about New York. As I've mentioned in the past, I lived in New York for 40 years. I can't say I'm a New Yorker because I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. That's still my first love. Well, not Detroit so much, but Michigan. It's beautiful. The lakes, the forests, it's just beautiful. So New York, even though I don't live there anymore, I still read the news reports and I keep an eye on my former, not hometown, but I guess you could say almost hometown, because A, I want to know what's going on there, B, because I hope things will change and the city will get better. It's been getting worse and worse, and I keep hoping against hope that it'll get better. Maybe I could move back someday, but I'm not holding my breath on that. What I want to discuss is based on my experience. As I said, I'm originally from Michigan, Detroit, Michigan. I saw what decades of liberal governance did to Detroit. Now I'm seeing it in New York. This is the news story that I just saw. I no longer have, New Yorkers unfortunately, they have Bill de Blasio as their mayor. Even in a liberal city like New York with a liberal city council, that city council is getting sick of him. In German, there's a word, Schadenfreude, which is the taking of pleasure in the misery of other people. Now, I'm not taking pleasure in the misery of New Yorkers. On the contrary, I feel bad for them. I wish I knew a word for it. I guess sympathy is the best word I can come up with, because things are getting worse. But my sympathy for my former fellow New Yorkers is tempered by the tendency of the vast majority of them to vote for people and policies that continue to produce these terrible results that make the city worse. Which brings us to an article that I want to discuss, and it's a very short article, so I could really just read it and do what's called fisking. So you learn a new word from me today. Maybe Schadenfreude was a new word. Now you've got a second new word. What is fisking? It's named after, I believe he's British, a journalist named Robert Fisk, and it's taking an article and going through it paragraph by paragraph and refuting the contents of the article paragraph by paragraph. I don't think I'm going to read every paragraph, but I'm going to read this article. It's very short, and then I'm going to comment along the way. So here we go. New York City Mayor de Blasio promised 2 years ago to spend $1.35 billion to create 100,000 good-paying jobs in 10 years. A dozen city council members are now challenging the city's chief economic development officer to prove the jobs exist. I'll make your job easy for you, Mr. Chief Economic Development Officer. Those jobs don't exist. Just trust me on that, because it's a program run by the government, designed by liberals to create jobs. By that definition alone, that's all you have to know, that the jobs either were not created, or any jobs that were created, and I believe some were not the quality jobs that were promised. De Blasio said that his program, including making garment factories and film studios out of an old warehouse, would foster tens of thousands of jobs paying about $50,000 a year. So Patchett, that's the Chief Development Officer, that's his name, James Patchett, he said the program has cost the city $300 million so far and produced 3,000 jobs, and the warehouse facility may create another 25,000. And more than $1 billion has been also committed for other aspects of the plan. Now, the program ran into controversy shortly after de Blasio proposed it, when plans to spend $136 million to create a quote, made in New York, unquote, hub in Brooklyn's Sunset Park for the clothing and motion picture industries drew protests. Existing production studios and Manhattan garment manufacturers said the subsidized businesses would hurt their own. And this gets to a major point, because if you know anything about New York City, you know that it once was a garment manufacturing center. In fact, one of my first jobs when I first came to New York was cutting patterns for leather coats in a garment factory. They made the garments there. By the time I left, they were making the garments in Korea, South Korea, and having them imported. And what was a garment factory had become mainly an import office. That's the result of liberalism over many, many years. These garment factories down in Soho, well, not just garment factories, there was manufacturing too. When I first came to New York, I stayed with a couple that had a loft down by the Bowery. That loft originally was a tool and die shop. They had to spend quite a bit of time when they first moved in scraping grease off the walls and the floors and repolyurethaning the floors and polishing the floors and so on and so forth to turn it into a dwelling. The point is, you have two people living in a 2,500 square foot loft paying whatever taxes they pay to the city. But before then, it was a tool and die shop where you had dozens of workers. And number one, you had the business itself paying taxes to the city of New York, and then you had all the workers paying taxes to the city of New York. And now those workers are gone. The owner is not there anymore. The business, that is not there anymore. That's what happens when you raise taxes and you put on regulations and you create a business environment where businesses can no longer operate, so they leave. Now you have Bill de Blasio talking about investing government money, taxpayers' money, to create garment factories such as the ones that were there in the first place, because it never occurs to liberals that you're not going to, well, just as these remaining businesses complained, if you subsidize these businesses that you want to create, you create unfair competition for the private businesses. So naturally they protest. That's exactly what happened. But more important, these liberal mayors and city councils, it never occurs to them to simply reverse the laws that they passed that drove out those businesses, reduce the taxes or eliminate the taxes that drove out those businesses, and then the businesses could come back, or at least you would staunch the flow of businesses out. But it never occurs to them. The final point I would make is Amazon. Amazon was ready to open a headquarters in Long Island City. That's a part of New York City. I'm sure everybody's read the stories. They changed their mind because of protests from the local population and dingbats like the barmaid from the Bronx, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And they thought that they were getting some kind of a subsidy, exactly what Bill de Blasio was talking about doing, that Amazon was getting a subsidy, when in fact all they were getting was a tax break, which is not money given to them, it's just money that they would not have to pay so that they could invest in the business and create jobs that were supposed to pay $150,000 a year, 3 times what de Blasio's plan was supposed to do, with no government investment at all, simply reducing taxes. And I would argue that had they done that and had that proven successful, they should consider doing the same for all the businesses in New York City. reduce all of their taxes. Do the same thing for them, what they would have done for Amazon, and then you would have these businesses coming back. You would have a business-friendly environment. But not only did they not do that, they chased Amazon out. And that's it for today. Just a short video, or I hope it's a short video. That was the intention, as I stated at the beginning of the video. Just a short video about my former almost hometown, New York City. But I won't find out until I edit the video. And forgive me if this video is a little rougher than the other ones, which are pretty rough also. But I'm kind of pressed for time today, so I just recorded something because I love talking to all of you and I wanted to record something for everybody. Thumbs up if you liked the video, as usual, and share it with your friends if you think somebody could benefit from my videos. Subscribe, 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 and then you won't miss future videos. If you have comments, put them in the comments below. If there's a subject you would like me to cover, put that in the comments below. And if you have a Twitter account and you like my videos, or if you like this video, paste the URL into a tweet so other people could enjoy it too, and add a suggestion for them to retweet. That would really be wonderful. And what also would be wonderful is to see you all again next time. But until that next time, bye.